Peace. I'm glad you could tune in. My name is Alicia Jefferson. This is Self-Centered Wellness, and I'll be with you for the next 15 minutes or so. I like to explore the theme, take control of the conversation between you and the world for greater peace. Take control of the conversation between you and the world for greater peace. So let's get into it. Lately, I've been taking a deep dive into the nervous system, particularly the enteric nervous system, basically what they call the second brain or the little brain, the brain of the gut. And I've been looking into how it interacts with the central nervous system, our brain, the neurons of the nervous system of our brain. So I've been looking into how communication works between our brain and our gut. And it had me thinking about the way we communicate with the world, our inner world system, and how it communicates with our outer world systems. For example, the news, right? That's part of the world system. The everyday news, the 11 o'clock news, 10 o'clock news, what have you. And what it communicates to our inner world, right? Or how our inner world communicates with the outer world, be it the news, right? There is a communication, a conversation that takes place. And thinking about the impact that our world systems have on our inner world system, at least the impact our world system has on my inner world system. And I was thinking about it is necessary for us to take control of that conversation in order to have peace or a greater sense of peace in our lives. Going back to the conversation, the communication between the brain and the little brain, the gut brain, the enteric nervous system. It's not necessarily balanced, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but the conversation is controlled primarily by the gut. It is sending out more messages to the brain than the brain is sending to it, right? The little brain, the nervous system in the gut is sending messages to our brain, to the central nervous system. More messages than it is receiving, right? From the brief study I've done, the dive that I've taken, this is what I'm seeing. It lets the brain know, okay, we're good, stop releasing such and such, or you know what, we need more of this particular chemical release, or we need this action to take place. So like I said, I'm thinking more about how our inner world system communicates with the outer world system. And a lot of times we allow the outer world system to dominate the conversation or the lines of communication, meaning we are receiving more messages from the outer world system than we are sending from our inner world system. And what I've noticed, and I'm sure many of you notice, that it can bring about a lot of stress, fear, anger, anxiety. Thinking about, I'll use a couple of examples to try to illustrate this. So we're just in this pandemic, right? And we're getting messages from the outer world systems, news, and almost everywhere we turn, there were these messages of fear, really. Fear of social contact, fear of interacting with others, right? That was the message. Don't do it. Social distance, right? And it was based in a lot of fear, and the messages were about fear. And that impacted our inner world system because there were a lot of people who were afraid and anxious and worried and locking themselves in and shutting down and staying away and not having a bit of interaction, right? Because of it. Here's another example. It's a good one. If you have children like I do, right, and they want to watch, and you've probably experienced this as a child, my children want to watch scary movies, and so they might watch a horror movie. I let them watch a horror movie, right? And what's the result? Most times it's they don't want to sleep with the light off, they don't want to sleep alone, they don't want to go to sleep. There's all sorts of things now living in their closet or in their bedrooms that are out to get them because of the impact of that movie, which is part of the outer world system, and its impact on their inner world system, right? Bringing about fear and worry and fright and all of that, right? So that's an example of the outer world having a dominant impact on the inner world system. So the theme, taking control of the conversation between you and the world for greater peace. Our inner world, the message that we play in our minds, the feelings that we generate in our bodies, it's our inner world, right? And those messages, that conversation should be the dominant voice. We should dominate the conversation between us and the world. When I think about dominating the conversation between me and the world, I think about limiting the amount of news I watch, right? Or where I get my news from, limiting how many messages of fear or anger or images of fear and anger that I allow in to my inner world. I think about expanding or increasing the amount of messages or images of beauty. I think about increasing the number of the amount of beauty that I take in, increasing the amount of images or messages of joy and kindness and happiness that I take in. That could be through TV shows, movies, documentaries, books, music. My inner world system needs to dominate the conversation between the outer world system. When I am dominating the conversation between me and the world, I have a greater sense of peace, greater sense of joy, greater sense of calm, greater sense of certainty, even. But when I find that I am allowing the world to dominate the conversation between me and it, there's fear, there's worry, anxiety, frustration, anger, hopelessness. Take control of the conversation between you and the world for greater peace. Our inner world is impacted by the outer world. Of course it is. Of course, things stir us and move us emotionally and mentally and such. But I find if we are making our inner world a priority, it's peace or happiness, comfort, making our inner world system priority, I find there is less stress, less anger, less irritation, less frustration, less anxiety, or a slower reaction time to the outer world systems. Because again, of course, we're moved by it and stirred by it. We are in this world, of course. We are interacting with world systems. And again, that's people, places, that's things, that's not just one group of spooky people. It's, if you're in school, it's teachers, it's students, other students. In your workplace, there's your co-workers, your supervisors, your clients. There's, like I said, media and all forms of media. There's the people on the road, the people in the department stores, grocery stores, people that you interact with on phones, different consumer relations and such. Your inner world, your emotions, your thoughts. And when we dominate the conversation between us and the world, we have a greater chance for peace in our lives. And how do we do that? In various ways. Myself, I like to meditate. I like to take walks. I like to exercise. Various forms of exercises can bring about same or similar results on our inner world. I like to practice yoga. I like to walk and run on the track. I like to do deep breathing exercises. You may dance. You may sing. You may kayak. You may swim. But all of these activities have a great impact on our outer world because they are actions that enhance the balance, enhance the healthiness of our inner world system. And when we are doing more of the things that bring about healthiness to our inner world system, that's when we are dominating the conversation between us and the world. Because when we move about the world and see different things going on and hear different things going on or partaking in the different things that are going on, we are not shaken. We are not full of anxiety or fear or worry because our inner world system has a balance, a wholeness operating, and it's not easily thrown off by what's going on in our outer world. So, say, like the fires that are taking place, or the extreme rains that have taken place in different parts of the country of America, and like I said, the fires in different parts of the world. Some of us may participate in helpful activities, right? So we are in the trenches, so to speak, of that experience. But we have a sense of calmness because we have attended to our inner world system. And though the outer world may seem to be in disarray, we have a sense of balance because we've attended to our inner world system. And it dominates the conversation between us and the world. Taking control of the conversation between you and the world for greater peace. I like to pause, take a few deep breaths, breathe with me. One more. Right now I am sitting in a corridor of what's called a youth pavilion art center, an activity place for children and families. So you may hear little people behind me. It's a great place to interact and engage with science and art here in our town. And it feeds the inner world of children and adults alike. It's a way to dominate the conversation between us and the world. Again, taking control of the conversation between you and the world. And like I said, this idea was sparked by my recently diving and still in there swimming in the I'm diving into information about the nervous system, the central nervous system and the enteric nervous system, which is basically the brain and the little brain and the communication that takes place between them. And it led me to think about the importance of our dominating the conversation between us and the world, letting our inner world be the dominant one in the conversation between us and the outer world for greater peace. I'm glad you tuned in. My name is Alicia. This is Self-Centered Wellness. If you have benefited from this episode, if you found it inspiring, encouraging, helpful in any way, I ask that you download, follow, like, share, subscribe. Until next time. Peace.